Hi everybody, Dan Illman kicking off a 50-cent pick 4 at Belmont Park on Saturday with the Grade 3 Victory Ride Stakes. Fillies and mares going 6.5 furlongs, $150,000 is the purse. Let's take a peek at this field. A field of 7 entered. I talked to Butch Reed, the trainer of the #1 stand-up comic, on Thursday morning. He mentioned to me that they're leaning towards running stand-up comic in a stakes race at Delaware instead of the Victory Ride. So right now I'll assume that stand-up comic's not going to come to New York for the Victory Ride. Unlike the Suburban, the other graded stakes race on dirt at Belmont Park on Saturday, the Victory Ride has a ton of speed. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and I do agree with Timeform US that of the speed horses, the #5 Pretty Birdie is the fastest out of the gate. The horse just has an electric break from the stalls, and turning back from 7 to 6.5 could work in her favor in this spot. I wouldn't be surprised if this pace heats up, however, because there are other speeds in this race. We'll talk a little bit about stand-up comic, who was 3 for 3 on dirt to begin her career. Reed told me that she lost a little bit of weight. She got very, very fresh and anxious over the winter. They gave her time. She came back with a good performance in the Jersey Girl, but it looks like she's going to run at Delaware on Saturday. Smash Ticket is the #2. Very promising filly by Midnight Loot. In her career debut, she caught a pretty sharp filly in Wicked Halo over a muddy track, and I just think maybe she didn't care for the mud that day. They sent her to Del Mar, and I really liked the way she won her maiden in start #2. She broke inward and a bit slow, rushed right up to set the pace. It was pressured, and she kept right on going. She won easily by 5. She came back, and she didn't really fire in the Sorrento, but boy, did she have a troubled trip in that race. She went to the sidelines, and she came back with this performance off the layoff. It's only a 2-life allowance at Lone Star, but this is how you like them to win, by the length of the stretch with a 92 Beyer speed figure. Smash Ticket appears to have come back on fire. She is taking a big step up in class, and the pace is likely to be a lot faster than what she saw last time out at Lone Star. So can she duplicate that 92 Beyer? If she does, she's a very strong contender. Mike Smith in for the mount. The 3 is Half Is Enough, a perfect 3 for 3 in her career for an excellent trainer in Michael Trombetta. Let's watch her last start at Delaware. This is an allowance race, and she sat just off the pace in the early stages, but once she made the front, she just poured it on. She wins by 7. Her Beyer's speed figures are light compared with some of the others, but she's so lightly raced that a forward move is not out of the question at all. She is another horse, though, that likes to be a little bit up close to the pace and will be taking a big step up in class. Arad Ortiz takes them out for Trombetta. The 4 is Happy Soul, and Happy Soul began her career as a very, very promising horse. She won 3 races in a row, 2 as a 2-year-old by open lengths, a maiden by 12, the Astoria by 11.5, and then she got very, very sick after that race. Wesley Ward had to give her plenty of time off. While she came back with a victory in the Dixie Belle, her last 2 races were not good. One was probably at a distance way too far for her, the Ashland Stakes 2 starts back. But last time, the Miss Preakness, that was a disappointing performance. She went to the lead, she went 23 for the first quarter, and she was just beaten in a race that hasn't come back very strong. Case in point, of the 4 next out runners to come back from the Miss Preakness, none have hit the board with a top Beyer of 60. I talked to Wesley immediately after the Miss Preakness. He was disappointed. He thought if Happy Soul goes 23 for the opening quarter, she should win that race at odds on. They're likely to go faster in here. It'll be interesting to see if she can sit just a little bit off the pace. That wouldn't surprise me at all with Johnny Velasquez aboard. Pretty Birdie is the #5, and I really needed Pretty Birdie 2 starts back in the 8 bells. She was 7-1 that day. She blasted out to the early lead, and she was a very good second in a key race, won by Matarea, who's one of the better 3-year-old fillies in the country. Pretty Birdie was understandably odds-on in her subsequent start. Last month's Leslie's Lady overnight at Churchill Downs, and I think while the race looks disappointing on paper, she was able to get to the lead. The pace wasn't necessarily fast. I think that kind of took her speed away from her in that race. With a horse like Pretty Birdie, I think you just want to let her roll on the front, open up a lead, play catch me if you can. In this situation, she was very well rated and very comfortable turning into the stretch, but once they turned into the stretch, it turned into a sprint for home, and she just didn't have much of an advantage over the runner-up. the aforementioned Wicked Halo, who came back to win an off-turf stakes race. Pretty Birdie, I think, is the main speed in this race. She might have to go fast, but she's electric from the gate, and she might be tough to catch turning back to 6.5. Hot Peppers is up next. We're going to watch her win in the Jersey Girl. This was a big performance for the Rudy Rodriguez-trained Hot Peppers, although it's worth noting she got a little bit of a breather in the second quarter of this race over a wet track. First quarter 22-1 to establish command, then backed it down to 23 and change, and she was just too much for this field at odds on. She is stepping up in class. I like this outside post position. If Pretty Birdie breaks as expected, Hot Peppers might be sitting on the outside of that horse, clear of traffic. A little bit of an acid test, though, for this Florida bred as she steps up into the graded stakes ranks. And Sterling Silver completes the field. And maybe we've just been overthinking this whole race. If you think everyone else is a speed and a stalker, the pace is going to be fast, you're looking for a closer, isn't Sterling Silver the prototypical late-running closer? She's 3 for 3 lifetime sprinting. Her only 2 losses came in the Busher going a 1-turn mile and the Grade 1 Ashland, where she went 2 turns in a mile and a 16th. Here's her win in the Birdie last time out against New York breds, where there was a fast pace, she sat off of it, she came and got them, she won very, very easily. Top buyer of 77, I think a forward move is coming. She's going to get the right pace scenario, and she's going to be running late, and she should be a decent price. So there are some things to like about the number 7, Sterling Silver. Before we get to my top selection, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time. I like what I saw from Smash Ticket last time out at Lone Star. It'll be interesting to see how, as one of the inner speeds, she deals with the outer speed. And I think the main speed of the speed is the 5 Pretty Birdie. I'm going to go back to her. I think she tried to be rated a little bit too much last time out. I think they're just going to let her roll and see if she could take this field all the way, going 6.5. 5264 for me in the Grade 3 victory ride at Belmont on Saturday. Best of luck.